Living in 19th century Texas was tough. Living in the 19th century period was tough. Getting dressed was a process, so many layers. Cooking was a dangerous but necessary proposition. Keeping house was hard labor, and that newborn in the other room, the odds of him surviving to his first birthday, not so great. Climate control wasn't the thing. Transportation took forever over rough roads and vast expanses. You never know when you might find the Comanche in your corn crib, and the mosquitoes that annoy us now, they were lethal in the 1830s. All manner of viruses, poxes, fevers could cut you down in the prime of your life. Today we take a look at the founding fathers of Texas and how long they lasted in this hard scrabble world. In the first half of the 19th century, if a man survived childhood, no small feat, he could expect to live to about age 55. And many founding fathers did just that. Sam Houston lived to 70. Juan Seguin was 84 when he died. Jose Antonio Navarro lived to 76, and David G. Burnett, a ripe old 82. Richard Ellis, president of the Constitutional Convention of 1836 and a signer of our Declaration, he lived to the ripe old age of 65, and his death was, let's just say, curious. Judge Ellis was living with his family out in Bowie County in 1846. He was old, and he had taken to bed. One day in December, he got up from his bed and went out into the hall. When he returned to his room to warm himself, he burst into flames. His clothes were said to be made of a combustible material, and he likely died quickly. So Richard Ellis spontaneously combusted. And speaking of signers, 59 men signed our Declaration of Independence. Of those 59, 21 did not survive to see the Republic become a state. Of those, 10 were under the age of 40 when they died, and 4 of them committed suicide. Barnett, Brigham, Byram, Matt Caldwell, Samuel Carson, Robert Coleman, all gone before 1846. Edward Conrad was just 25 when he died, and Sidney Pennington was just 28. Lorenzo de Zavala and Stephen Everett didn't live to see statehood. Samuel Rhodes Fisher, the beleaguered Secretary of Navy, was shot in 1839. Bailey Hardeman, the Secretary of the Treasury, did not outlive 1836. William Motley died at San Jacinto. The Potterizer, look it up, we're not going to talk about it here. The Potterizer, Robert Potter, was killed in 1841 at Caddo Lake. Sterling Clack Robertson and Francisco Ruiz, both gone by 1842 and both died at age 57. Elijah Stapp departed this earth in 1843 and John Turner in 1844. David Thomas, who signed the Declaration at age 35, only lived a month in the republic that he helped to create. He caught a round from a firearm that was accidentally discharged aboard the steamship Cayuga. Some accounts say he was taken to Lorenzo de Zavala's home, where he later died and was buried. John J. Lynn has Thomas languishing at Galveston for 3 days before dying. Still another account says he stayed aboard the steamship, rode with it to the San Jacinto battlefield, arrived the day after the battle, and then died there. Whichever story you believe, the net result is exactly the same: dead David Thomas. And then there were the signers who died deaths of despair. 4 of them out of 59 signers. George C. Childress, considered the principal author of the Texas Declaration, was 37 years old when he decided to slice open his own belly with a Bowie knife in Galveston in 1841. What a hell of a way to go. James Collinsworth, the first Chief Justice of the Republic, died under peculiar circumstances. In 1838, he was 36 years old, and in a 3-way race for president against Mirabeau B. Lamar and Peter Grayson. After a week-long bender, he fell from a boat in Galveston Bay and drowned. When his body was found on Bolivar Peninsula and an inquest held, rumors began to percolate across the United States that his body showed signs of trauma and mutilation, and murder was suspected. But the consensus here at home was that Collinsworth, drunk on despair and cheap whiskey, jumped from the boat with the intent of ending it all. Signer, soldier, statesman Thomas Jefferson Rusk, mourning his dead wife and suffering from a pesky tumor on the back of his neck, shot himself in July 1857. Signer James B. Woods is believed to have killed himself in 1851 after taking the life of another man. He was 49. Now, I mentioned that Justice Collinsworth was in a presidential run against Peter Grayson and Mirabeau B. Lamar. Well, Peter Grayson took his own life too, 3 days before Collinsworth fell from that boat in Galveston Bay. Grayson opted for a gunshot wound. The final president of the Republic of Texas, Dr. Anson Jones, is another sad example. In 1858, he took a room at the old Capitol Hotel in Houston, the hotel that had served as the Capitol building in 1837 and 1838. He told a friend that he had begun his political career in that building, and he figured he might just end it there. That night, around 3 a.m., he did precisely that. Pistol shot to the head. And Texas lost many more of her important men before 1840. Stephen F. Austin, the father of Texas, didn't survive 1836. Pneumonia got him in December of that year. He was 43 years old. John Birdsall, who served briefly as Attorney General and Chief Justice of the Republic simultaneously, died of yellow fever in Houston in 1839. He was 37. And we lost the fiery Wharton brothers, Young and Early. Young and Early are not the names of the Wharton brothers. William H. Wharton accidentally shot himself while dismounting his horse in 1839. He, like Birdsall, was 37. His brother John Austin Wharton, dead at age 32 in 1838. Now, David G. Burnett, under whom John Wharton served as Secretary of War, delivered a wonderful funeral oration, and some of these words are probably familiar to you. The keenest blade on the field of San Jacinto is broken. The brave, the generous, the talented John A. Wharton is no more. But surely it will be engraved on the tablets of our history that Texas wept when Wharton died. Now, I singled out the signers here to help you visualize by numbers just how tough it was to live to old age in the 1830s. Of the 59 men who signed our Declaration, a third were gone before statehood. 4 of them took their own lives. Life in early Texas wasn't easy on the body. Texas war and politics weren't easy on the mind. I like to imagine sometimes how the Republic might have been had Zavala, Austin, and the Whartons lived to participate in those events. And then I remember alternative history drives people insane, and I stop. So let's all raise a glass to all the men and women, to everyone who lived in harder times, no matter their lot in life or position in society, so that Texas could become Texas and stay Texas. They were a hardy lot, and we should salute them all. Until next time, God in Texas, y'all.